Hey YouTube, this is the art of prepping. It's freaking cold out here. It seems like it's colder than normal for this time of year. I mean, it's only the 8th of December and it's freaking feels like it's almost like the beginning of January normally where I live. I've been getting a lot of messages from various people about how cold it is in their area. And I can tell you, I just think it's across the board colder than normal for December. But that's just my opinion and just from what I've been noticing. And so everyone be safe though, okay? It's real easy to get hypothermia, especially if you're out camping at night and stuff. It can creep up on you, man. And so you got to be really, really safe. And if anything, do more than you would normally do, or have more with you just in case you need it. I'd bring a tinder as well, maybe even an extra third or fourth fire starter. You don't want to be caught off guard in the middle of the night with no fire and not enough warmth, because it can take hold really, really hard. And especially if you are camping in an area like I do, that there's little to no cell phone reception. And if you needed to make a call for help and you're not able to get out because you're already getting so numb and cold, that's some pretty scary stuff. But this video is not about that. Just a passing thought about that. I wanted to talk about the stock market. The equities are pretty inflated right now. There's a lot of what they call Trump speculation or Trump mania. And just be careful with that. Don't be trying to buy at the very top here of the market. And I'm not saying this is the very, very top. Remember I called right before the election that was the top, and at the time it was. But I didn't really even account that the market was going to have this much of a response to Trump, which is awesome. And it is. But once again, we were already in a bubble to begin with before the election. And so this speculation with Trump, in terms of the market, is actually just creating another bubble on top of the bubble. And I have some concerns. I mean, I think it could go a little higher. The speculation is probably not over. We might even have another month or two of it. But I think that eventually it's going to have to pull back to a fair valuation because, I mean, in real life, though, if we live in the real world, we know that there's a massive unemployment. I mean, just the number of people that are not even participating in the workforce is off the chain. I mean, it is out there and pretty much almost a record high to my knowledge. And so if you look at the welfare state and how many people are dependent on government for one thing or another, the economy is not in a good shape, and businesses aren't having these record high, any kind of, by any imagination, profit margins or anything like that. We're not in a boom market, in the real world. But if you look at the stock market, you'd be like, man, things are going really well. And they're not. So that's just the power of speculation. And you also have to understand that the bond markets are selling off like hotcakes. So the yields are horribly low. People are moving. It's like an exodus from the bond market into equities. And so you have to be careful because a lot of this is propped up. This is just people not knowing what to do with their cash. They don't want to put it in a bank account and yield less than the inflation rate. So they gamble. And they gamble with equities because they see it going up and they're like, man, I want to just ride that wave up. Well, let me tell you, it's been going up that wave for years and years. And I think that we're more than due for a major correction and a pullback. Ever since 2008, you know what I'm saying? After that massive crash at the end of 07 and 08, we've been riding this wave up. And I'm telling you, we're in a massive bubble. We've actually probably grown a little too fast. And we don't have enough real growth. And there's all kind of little tricks of the trade that these companies will do in terms of trying to prop up their stocks, their stock evaluations. They'll do like their own stock buybacks. They'll do all kinds of things. They'll basically maybe increase or decrease the number of shares available. They have all kinds of little tricks. And so don't be trying to buy into the market on the top right now. I wouldn't do that. I'd rather probably just hold the money. Maybe I'm just time. If I had money, I'd probably hold. And because I do believe there's going to be a pretty good pullback. And it may take a bit of time to do that, and maybe even a longer time for it to totally unfold to get to a fair evaluation of the market. But I think that we're within that grasp now that it's definitely not a good time to be buying. If you're not doing like day trading and you can buy at the top or the bottom, or you can buy against the market or for the market, in terms of if it goes up, you win, or it goes down, you win. if you're just a traditional person like myself and you just buy things if you have money, like mutual funds, and when it goes up, you win, and if it goes down, you lose, then this is not the market you should be involved with. And so just be mindful of that. Right now, it's a tough market. It's a tough environment, really, financially, of what to do with if you have money. Of course, most of us don't have that kind of problem. And so, I don't have that kind of issue either. If I had money, I'm just thinking out loud, mainly because today is the premiere of Alone, season 3. And I can't help but to think if I won $500,000, which after tax, I think it's like maybe $250,000. I do believe that's pre-tax money. But let's just say, though, that you get a whole $500,000. That's more fun to think about. What would I do with it? And it got me thinking about the market, about how funky it is, and how much we're in a bubble with equities. And, the tech sector, there's a big movement back into it when there was a big drive out of it. So you got that. You got some commodities that are hotter than others. The banking sector is still doing fairly well stock-wise since the election. You got all kinds of things that are kind of up and down and moving around. A lot of movement of cash and equity. So this is kind of one of those volatile times that the market is trying to figure out what is fair market value, what is supposed to be, appropriate for now, and how to get to the end result of balancing all of these things out, And so we might want to just step back. This is a good time just to step back. You never want to rush into anything, and just think, if you won $500,000 playing the game show season 3 Alone on the History Channel, what would you do with it? I'm sure you'd want to buy a few things, obviously. And then there's probably going to be, hopefully, a little bit you can set aside and you want to save or invest. It's just smart and prudent. I mean, as preppers, that's kind of what we do. We think ahead, forward-thinking people. And I think that that's going to be the important aspect here of, if you have money, the very few of us, what would you do with it now, since it's so precious, in that sense? Because not a lot of people have resources. Would you really want to put it in the stock market when it's at all-time highs like it is now? I don't think so. Now, is there always a possibility that this could run a lot longer than we ever could conceive, and it could actually grow? The market could grow in the bubble even that much larger. Yeah, anything's possible, but, you're really gambling a lot more. I mean, historically, there's always been boom and bust cycles. Typically, they're like every 7 to 8 years. I mean, we're due for one like you wouldn't believe right now. And we had a pretty good pullback. What was it, about a year ago? There was a couple of good pullbacks, but it wasn't like anything that lasted, and it came back. So I think there's definitely a concerted effort this time around. Man, the market is just going to get so inflated that when it does really go and correct itself to fair value, it's going to wipe out people like you wouldn't believe. And so this is just a warning, though. If you're of the flavor of I am, to be kind of skeptical of the market and to be cautious, if you are involved with like a 401k plan, and you're every month or every 2 weeks, your employer submits, I guess, from your paycheck or whatever, and they're participating into like some kind of contribution. This is just me. You can do whatever you want, but I'd probably stop that or freeze that until the market gets to a better evaluation. I wouldn't be buying at the top, and that's what you're doing right now if you're contributing to any type of retirement plan. And is taken out, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or however your situation is. I would be very cautious on how you proceed from here. As always, you guys take care. I'm going to get out of here. My fingers are going numb, and catch you later.